the right influencers. There are so many influencer platforms out there, and it just seems like we've got all these giant influencers that you got to pay money and you have them, they post something for you, but it doesn't go anywhere. And you're just like, man, how do you recommend that we both find and develop the right relationships with influencers?
Okay, so this all starts, and that's a great point. And I agree with you. If you're not passionate about what you're doing, it's going to be really hard, right? Because how do you create emotional attachment if you don't really care about the product you sell? It's going to be really hard to. And when you listen to successful entrepreneurs, successful brands, it's because they've been passionate about the product, right? And about providing a solution. So we need to do a reset on like the concept of influencers. So I wrote this book called The Age of Influence, published it last year. And that was my intent, was to do a reset, because so many people think of influencers like, oh, how am I going to reach out to Charlie D'Amelio or these people with like millions of followers? And, Amy, you just mentioned that you're in Clubhouse and you have 1,000 followers. You're an influencer. Okay. There are not that many people that have 1,000 followers in Clubhouse, believe it or not. And when I look at the few hundred people that I follow, there's probably, very few. So what the influencer marketing industry itself has said over time is they began to sort of, well, you need to have 1 million followers to be an influencer. Well, you need to have like 5. And over time, it's gone further and further down to the point where you have the concept of a nano influencer, of someone having 1,000 followers. Now, it's not easy to get 1,000 followers by any means, but when you lower it to that level, there are a lot more people out there that you can engage with. So when I talk about influencers, I'm talking about people that are active in social media. They have, they post regularly, or they engage in conversations about a certain topic. And yeah, they have a few hundred followers, right? If they have over 1,000, that's even better. But if you try to reach out to people, which we would call, let's say, micro influencers, like have 10,000 or more, often what's going to happen is, how much are you going to pay me? When you reach out to people that are more authentic and real, and they're not in it for the money, they didn't buy fake followers to begin with, and they love cats. And if you were to offer them, something for free to try out, that's going to, help them love their cat even more, of course, they're not going to ask for money. The product alone is going to be enough. And this is what brands are finding, right? They're finding that there's a lot of people out there that just for free product will give it a shot, will give you feedback. If they like it, maybe they'll post about it. Who knows, right? But that's the sort of thing that I'm talking about here. So if you find people that are active participants, even if they only have like 500 followers, that's still, people that are following them are probably following them for that topic. So, if they can get 100 impressions for something about a cat, and you spend all your time trying to build up an Instagram following of 1,000, and yet every time you post, you only get like 30 or 40 impressions because of the way the algorithms work. Yet these people with smaller followers are getting more impressions because they have a genuine, engaging community. These are the people that I'm talking about. So there's a lot of influencer platforms out there, but the best platforms are the social networks themselves. If you're interested in cats, you should be able to do searches and find these people on social media, right? And if you can't find them on social media, I don't know how influential they are. Let's put it that way. So, start with whatever networks make sense. I mean, Instagram is a no-brainer. It's very, very easy to engage with people. Facebook, if you have a lot of friends and you get introduced through friends or in Facebook groups, that's sort of a no-brainer. LinkedIn, depending on the content or, depending on the product, might be a no-brainer. Pinterest, maybe. It's not really it's more of a search engine than a social network. And I think YouTube is sort of the same. But you might be able to be exposed to people, and you might be able to at least find out about them and then connect with them on another social network. And Twitter is like Instagram. It's very, very easy to find people and connect with them. So regardless of what you're selling, try to make a hit list of like, 20, 50, 100 people that are actively talking about the subject that you're selling a product for. Start to, follow them, see what they're talking about, look for opportunities to, comment, engage in conversation, and go from there.
I love that list of steps that you just gave. You guys, anyone who's listening right now, that was gold, because number one, go out there and look for those people that are talking about your topic of interest. First, before you reach out to them, follow them and find out what they're talking about, engage, get a little more info, a little more intel, and then start to engage. And then you're going to have a really good idea about how to reach out to them. So my next follow-up question, which I know is a question I get all the time. It's like, well, what do I say? What do I say? Do I just say, here's a free product, but I think that people, as Andy mentioned earlier, they sell themselves short. You do have something of value to offer them, right? So to tell them like, hey, I noticed, this is what I always do. I follow them a little bit and then I'm like, hey, I noticed that you always post the best stuff. Like you're really engaging and I love your tips about cats, whatever it is that they're talking about, right? And say, I have this product that I would love to get your feedback on because, you seem like an expert, that you seem like you really know cats, whatever it is. I'm just giving an example. I would just love to get your feedback. And, and then if you wouldn't mind also, if you love it, post and share with your community as well. Tell other people about it. That would really help me out. Can I send you one? I don't know. That's how I usually start it out. Do you have any tips for us?
Yeah. So what's happened over time is that a lot more companies are doing this. And maybe you've gotten pitches from other people, especially if you have a podcast, you probably get pitches for people to be on your podcast all the time. If you have a blog, you probably get pitches for guest posts all the time. So I think you really need to cut through at the beginning and show that you really care. So mentioning, being even more specific, really personalizing and not just in first name, but how what they're doing really relates to the product that you have. Notice that you post all these pictures of, of cats on hamster wheels. And, I'd love to be able to build a huge hamster wheel for my cat. And guess what? I did, right? And this is a product I just created. I think you'd really love it. And I think once you get past that personalization point where you get them hooked, that says, hey, I'm a member of the same community as you are. I love cats. I love seeing the pictures of your cats. I have a Siamese cat too, or, you're the only person I know that has more cats than I do. And I have 14